Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site as an archive post thingy there, and also on Rumble for extra support. Everything is done there, of course. And any kind of updates or the such, I will go about it on Twitter X platform. Usually it's I use more when I publish stuff and when I go live, doing live streams. Again, live stream schedule is depends if I got enough free time to do a live stream. I cannot commit at this moment in time with a proper schedule there, but every time that I stream, I will go about it on Twitter. Today we will get Mutineer Zero episode, Road to Eden episode here, and again afterwards Monday we will continue with Jedi Survivor. Again, I still need to record some episodes here, so I have some of the backlog. I will start on the first planet. I completely forgot the name of the planet. Again, I'm terrible with names. But yeah, it seems a little bit better, at least from the first two episodes, in terms of how things look, especially on the graphic details, like in the background, there is more detail in the such. I think it's so far a little bit better. And yeah, VODs, I got a couple of them already uploaded. I'm just waiting them to finish up processing. They take a huge time, at least they usually take like 12 to 20 hours sometimes to process, but then it gets stuck on the still processing thing there for around at least a day. But yeah, when it's done, I will publish. I don't have a fixed schedule to publish the VODs. I think I need to still publish two. I think I can manage also throughout the day, manage to get around and publish the 25th VOD, and then probably even later today. So I don't get too behind on that one. I will publish the last stream that I did, the VOD of that last stream. But yeah, let's go to the news. I think I got everything covered here. I saw this article. This can be potentially pretty good. This is basically a microprocessor that can run basically CPU, GPU, and neural processing, whatever it is, like AI stuff simultaneously. This is again, I'll read the thing because a lot of technical stuff here. Silicon Inc. So this is the company has created RISC-V microprocessing chip architecture. This is an open source one, so it's good news by itself. The fact that it is an open source one that combines the RISC-V, I think it's called, or RISC-V. I don't know. I assume RISC-V CPU core with vector capabilities and GPU acceleration to single chip. Again, this hybrid chip is an open standard, will report to be open source as well. Hopefully yes, but then again, sometimes companies just, if they see a huge opportunity to make money, they might get around and like buy up this part here. Even though supposedly this RISC-V microprocessing architecture supposedly is open source or open standard. But then again, like any kind of variation of an open standard, I think they can be patented. So I'm not sure if this will, like, mandatorily will have to be open source, and probably anybody can get around and manufacture this kind of chips within this architecture. Again, I don't know, but if this goes as intended, I think it can be a huge hit, at least for not gaming CPUs, but at least for other stuff. And they give a lot of examples down the article. But yeah, the chip utilizes the X-Silicon C GPU architecture that merges GPU acceleration into RISC-V vector CPU core. The architecture as a vector core with I think 32 FPUs. I don't remember what this is. And scalar ALU. It features a thread schedule, clipping engine, rasterizer, texture unit, neural engine, and pixel processor. Basically, it's for it to process everything, because it's going to handle applications including AI, high performance computing, geometry computing, NOL2, and 3D graphics. So basically, it's like it says on the title, is basically something that will do everything in one. Because usually from the chips that we have today, like the CPU stuff, is just manufactured as an architecture to do certain things very specifically, very fast. And the same thing with GPUs, just to deal with, like, for example, 3D graphics stuff there as an architecture with a set of instructions very specifically, those certain tasks, but very fast. While this is kind of a jack of all trades, from what I understand, so it can do all things, but not super fast or at the same rate that a specific CPU or a GPU or even like a AI kind of accelerator thing does their own workloads very fast. This one can do it, but not that fast. Basically, it's my understanding of this. But yeah, this can be scalable, which is pretty good. So it has a lot of utility in use cases. And yeah, can be meshed together into a multi-core design, similar like Intel is doing with their tile thing, or like with AMD using their chiplet design. Basically, they can be basically cobbled together with using a speedy fabric, like AMD uses Infinity Fabric, I think, and NVIDIA, for example, uses NVLink, what they call the technology, which is basically a speedy fabric to all the components can communicate between themselves. Also, fast on-chip SRAM or EDRAM caches are also implemented in this design, so to function as an L2 cache that aggregates data from multiple cores, so each core can get that data to be processed and send it back and forth. Each core can be scheduled to run graphics, AI, video physics, HPC, or other workloads independently of the cores as needed. So, for example, you can have like a dedicated thing that does more about like video stuff, or and then you have another one that can do only physics. So it can be, it's like a toggle. You select which core is going to do what, and they can, depending on your needs, they can be changed back to, instead of just having, for let's say 10, you got 7 for AI and 3 for video, and then you can toggle off and put 2 on physics and toggle off the AI ones, 2 of the AI ones to do physics, and you can interchange with that, which is pretty excellent in terms of how the multitasking of and basically the jack of all trades kind of a thing that this chip can do. Of course, this is not going to be like a GPU that is going to be doing specific tasks very fast, but it can do the task, which is the main thing here. And as the new design is based on this RISC-V, anyone can utilize the architecture without having to pay instruction set royalty fees, which is the most important thing here. Which something that happens with ARM and x86 architectures. That's why I'm not sure if some companies might get a handle on this, and if they can, I don't know, find a way to make, I don't know if it is an instruction, get around getting an instruction set patented. I'm not sure if it can be done. I don't know how this works in this level. But if it's maintained open source, basically any company that can have a good idea for a chip can be used, which is good, because this can be used, I don't know, from like the refrigerators, the car stuff, even for mobile devices. I think they can be done also, depending on the specificity of those handheld devices. I don't know, tabs or even like gaming things there. For example, if you have a Navi game, you can use more cores to do more CPU related tasks than GPU related tasks. You can see where this can go. And of course, on cars, you can have like something that can deal with everything. So you don't have multiple chips installed in the car, one just for the radio stuff, other just for that. You can have like a central thing that can deal with everything. I assume that will make it cheaper, and if it is open source, it's cheaper for example, car manufacturers to put these kind of chips to run the software that needs to be run. I don't know. I think it might be a good thing to be applicable, and I would like to see this somewhere in the future to be implemented without companies just trying to, I don't know, patent everything and anything there. Continue with some chip stuff. I covered this yesterday or 2 days ago regarding the uplift in terms of IPC, so instructions per cycle on the Zen 5 that supposedly might be coming out later this year. Some of the figures were around 40%. I told that even if it is true, I don't see the reflection of supposedly 40% to be on applications and in games to see an uplift in 40%. But yeah, we got some more clarification, let's say, from the Moore's law is dead, which usually I think is in line with the sources that he has. Usually they are in line with after he comes out from the leak stuff, and supposedly again, don't expect 40% off. Basically, it's what everybody told. Probably the main gist is around between 15 to 25% average IPC performance uplift in overall scheme of things, even though of course in some specific workloads there can be an IPC increase almost to that, but this is like 1 out of 20 workload specific, I don't know. But yeah, he has free sources that he didn't name, but he specified free sources here. One of them said currently we're on AMD telling partners to expect an increase on an average of 17%. But also that the chosen IPC claims depends on what marketing thinks they can get away with. Again, you always have to be careful with marketing. And again, please note that the average IPC uplift will not be close to 40%, of course. In a recent the other source in a recent presentation from AMD, we were told to expect an IPC increase that in teens or of low, in the teens of low to mid 20s. So basically 15 to 25, give or take. But that FP workloads will often be much higher, so I don't know. It seems like AMD has quite a bit of wiggle room this time around, and my honest impression is that they'll try to fluff the marketed IPC enough to look close to what Intel announces for Lion Cove. And we are also told that both client and server Zen 5 are targeting third quarter 2024 for launch, so by the end of this year. It's one of the leaks that is being around here. And then the third source is basically just the IPCs was around the low ball goal was around 20%, but they cannot go that, so they again talks about a little bit of efficiency and everything, but basically they are sticking around in the between 14 26, so 15 25. I think it's a good estimate there in terms of IPCs, and expect some modest clock increases in some SQs, so probably in the high end we'll get some decent things there, and basically in terms of efficiency to be maintained with Zen 5 to a certain degree. Overall I think it's good news. So it's like the second thing for the second round of new CPUs for AM5 platform. You got a little bit increase here and there, but then again we will have to wait for the announcement by the end of the year probably, and then as always don't get too much hype, wait for reviews, and then of course with the reviews usually comes comparison with previous gen CPUs, but it seems they are in line, at least on the CPU part. AMD is doing his thing little by little, and yeah, again, don't expect 40% IPC improvement, so instructions per cycle. And continuing with AMD, we got again RDNA 4 things there. The Navi 48 supposedly is confirmed in ROCm patches, which is their open source software thing there. Like framework, I don't even know how to explain ROCm, but it's made. I think it's mainly a framework with some utilities for AI acceleration and all that jazz, and more professional kind of a thing in terms of applications and all that jazz. But yeah, we got at least supposedly Navi 48, we can expect that one. Again, just a reminder, this is not going to be the next RDNA 4 will not be focused on high end because they had some issues on R&D and they just keep the high end there and move to RDNA 5 to work on that to resolve any kind of issues that they had with the RDNA 4. So they skip ahead so they don't get stuck on R&D development hell there. Expect the high end on this RDNA to be below the 7900 XTX and a little above of, I think, the 7900 GRE, if not mistaken. I think that's kind of the peak in terms of performance, and it's going to be a monolithic chip design. Because I think that the main thing for the high end that they are still trying to solve, it's the chiplet design on the high end chips on the GPU stuff. Because even the 7900 XTX supposedly should have had more juice out of it in terms of performance. I think they were counting of almost competing with the 4090 when they were developing the 7900 XTX. And they have to cut down a little bit on the performance because of some issues. I think at the time I remember seeing something regarding artifacting a lot and other kind of issues, and they tried to solve this for RDNA 4, but it didn't manage. But from the news and the stuff that I've been seeing around since then, I think they can find a solution for RDNA 5 in terms of the chiplet design for the high end. So I think that what they're trying to do is, for example, or what they were trying to do, for example, on this RDNA 4 was, let's say, pick two Navi 48 chips and put them, glue them together, let's say, with the Infinity Fabric and all that jazz, and basically make an SLI in a single GPU card. I think it's what we're trying to achieve, and almost doubling the performance to a certain degree. But again, they found a little bit of issues on, at least on RDNA 4, on that high end, and they just start developing on the RDNA and try to solve that issue already on for RDNA 5. At least that's my perception on how things are going in the back end. So we'll have to wait at least 2 years, give or take, to have more concrete news regarding RDNA 5 GPUs there. Regarding gaming news, we got MechWarrior 5 clans. This is from Gamers Development Conference or whatever it is. We've got a lot of stuff happening there. We got MechWarrior 5 clans. Again, I always heard about MechWarrior franchise, and supposedly Piranha Games they showcased a trailer, which is interesting. It's just 1 minute, kind of a teaser there, and supposedly this will be an Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, it seems pretty interesting because from what I understand, MechWarrior is an extensive lore and a lot of story, and this one will take it's going to be a good time to new players to jump in, because it takes like in the story starts after MechWarrior 2 or something like that. According to the developers, the ideal entry point for the series newcomers too. So I think it starts in the early beginning, so you don't get thrown in the middle of everything without understanding. I think something is explained throughout the lore, so you have an understanding what you are doing here as a character. Supposedly the game will include several new features: updated MechLab, ArtPoint, Omnipod system. Players find will also find tools to direct allies, such as bird's eye style battle grid and a quick command radial menu. Again, I never played a MechWarrior game, but I was always fascinated with mechs. Yeah, it will come this year on PC, but suppose you don't have a specific date there. And this is a transcript of the interview that they did with the guys from Piranha. Oh my god, how they call Piranha Games? Okay, they got a transcript of the interview here, which is always good. Again, when I find this on Steam, I don't think they have. No, I don't even know if they have a Steam page now. Yeah, they have. I will leave the link on the Steam page of this game, so if you want to follow up and wish list it, so you can keep tabs on it. Now we got Celebrate also. Got more information. Supposedly you can complete the game in 25 hours, or if you want to do everything else for Completionists, around 50. And supposedly there's not going to be any kind of microtransactions except for crossover events. So basically for other games they might introduce like new content like skins or something like that, or playable content that might be related to that other franchises. And it seems that Nier creator Yoko Taro has been following Celebrate, and even Kojima itself recently met with the game's director. Maybe we'll see some, at least the 2B skin from Nier Automata, and I don't know if we're going to have something like Sam Porter stuff there from Death Stranding, or maybe something teasing out from new games upcoming from Kojima Productions. I don't know, but yeah, good to see that at least no microtransactions. The only thing that from the videos that seems a little bit weird is the hair mechanics there. The hair thing seems to be a little bit all over the place, but yeah. The game will come almost by the end of the month on PS5, and yeah, no news if it comes to the PC stuff, but yeah, hopefully it will come to PC, and I just hope it's a good game. Continuing, got Horizon Forbidden West. We got now a patch 1.1 released. Nixes is still working on AMD FSR free support again. The last one that is going to be launched 3.1, but yeah, it has support for FSR 2.2. Again, I always confused because these guys, I don't know if they I think the AMFM, from which is the frame frames from AMD, they are calling that AMFM. I think the FSR3, it's the what they are calling 3.1. I don't know, but yeah, the upscaling technology. But it contains several fixes, optimizations. The patch allows PC to properly remap tab key. I don't know why you couldn't do that before. Update includes also add widescreen scale, alongside fixes for graphic corruption on waterfalls with DLSS. Okay, frame generation, specific to frame generation. Another nice addition included in this patch is the option to preview changes made in HDR settings. Okay, it's a very niche thing, but yeah, other than that, seems to be a relatively decent port. And again, we got always patches coming out when these games come out, so yeah, hopefully I will probably be playing. I'm not sure if I ever have the first one. I don't think so. I will probably at least try the first one and see how it goes, because I heard some stuff from the second one. But yeah, we'll see how that goes in the future. And then we got here Hellblade director, Ninja Fury co-founder Tameem Antoniades is no longer at the studio, which is interesting. I've been seeing a lot of new articles regarding Hellblade 2. I don't know if they were trying to hide this thing, because he's the co-founder of Ninja Theory. But yeah, supposedly he worked briefly on Hellblade 2, but now creative development is now being helmed by environment art director and visual effects director and studio audio director. Yeah, supposedly the game is only like 8 hours or so, give or take. I don't know what they're aiming for here, but again, hopefully it's a good game. Supposedly the first one is pretty good. It's one of those that I really need to try out one of these days to see how it goes. But yeah, hopefully everything is okay there, and we'll have to wait and see when the game comes out for the reviews. And I'm going to wrap up some gaming deals. Now we have a new Epic Game Store kind of a thing there, free games. And I will leave the link on the description there. And FIFA also. I already had this one claimed. I don't know when I claimed this, but it's already on my library before this one. And we got FIFA. This is the soft reboot they tried to make. few years ago. I think it didn't have like pretty good reviews, but yeah, it's free. You at least can try it and see if it is good for you. On Steam, we got Lysopi, still 30% off. We got Dredge, 30% off. We got Death Stranding Director's Cut. We got Dome Keeper, it's a new one recently that I had it on, 50% off. We got Cyberpunk, again, I think the way to go is Ultimate Edition, if not mistaken, 43% off. We got still No Man's Sky, 50% off. We got King's Arthur Night Sales. This is part now of turn-based Thursday Fest, so around 4 days for you to claim this game on a deal. Here is 60% off. Then you got extra stuff there. We got only for it's kind of a cheap thing there. It's like $6 if you want the picked skirmish, brigand skirmish, and supporter pack DLC. I think this game is pretty good. It's got some different take on the King Arthur legend there. And it's got it's a pretty good turn-based game from everything that I saw. We got also Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, 75% off. Again, this was like a few months ago, not even that on a giveaway from Epic Game Store. But yeah, usually it's this price point when they enter on the deal. We got also Battletech, part of the same deal here with the turn-based Thursdays. Yeah, 75% off. You got a lot of little things here, but I think the game is pretty good also as a turn-based thing, and I think the story it's pretty good also from what I understand. And yeah, you got all the DLC associated with that. It's playable content at least. We got also the Tomb Raider franchise. I live here, I already have them on my library, but yeah, 80% off on the first game. Even though for these games, it's so cheap that I always recommend the definitive editions of all of these free games. We got here it's the Rise of the Tomb Raider, it's the 20-year celebration, it's like the thing there. We got also Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Again, I'm not sure what the price is because it doesn't tell me, but I leave here I will leave the definitive Survivor trilogy. I think it's relatively cheap. It's an average almost 80% off, and I think it's around $15 or something like that, the free games with all the DLC associated with it, if not mistaken, or even less than that. At maximum $15 for sure. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good trilogy, and again, I will replay at least Rise of the Tomb Raider, but I will do the trilogy in one go in 4K one of these days, probably this year still, because I like this kind of games here and there for us to go around and explore and do the puzzle stuff there. And yeah, basically this is it, guys, what I have for you today. I'm just going to plug in my Patreon here to wrap up. The extra support from Patreon is more focused at this moment in time on storage, for me to be able to get around having storage for having backups of the stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.